Hello, everybody. It's Charlie with 4BZ Truth, and we're contemplating the cosmos today with Meteor Man. I wanted to bring this amazing gentleman on here today because, well, there's a couple reasons. I wanted everybody to be able to test their own foundation and see how far you can think outside of your box, number one. And then number two is, really the concept of today's show is really to discuss two points: mind over matter, and then the other one is basically what was the other one? I actually was just talking about it. So, anyways, the point is, we need to be able to test our foundations. This is something that I wanted to really do for myself, because in a lot of ways I actually feel like this was definitely outside of my box, and he was saying some stuff that I thought was pretty interesting as far as like, okay, so the title of the show here is really just we're discussing eating not just raw meat, but we're eating like aged meat, fermented meat, rotting meat. I mean, however you want to look at it. And not just that, but there's other foods that you eat that are spoiled. Like, I mean, I hear that there's like, it's a delicacy to eat like an egg or something that is rotting. Or
thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to tell that egg story later on in the stream.
Yeah, we're going to touch on a bunch of stuff. So, as people pop in here, I'm not sure exactly how popular this is going to be, but for me, this is more than just kind of shock value. We were kind of chatting about this before we came on, but the shock factor of eating a steak with not only decomposing, but that has maggot carcasses and live maggots. And honestly, I don't want to just like shock people like right out the gate, but I kind of want to talk to you about the reason you kind of do what you do, and maybe do a little introduction for yourself. I also, maybe after you do a little introduction as to where you're coming from with your dietary perspective, maybe you can kind of just I'm just kind of reading through the list that you gave me of the talking points, but you kind of know where you're going with it. So I'll give you the floor for a moment, and then maybe I'll even play a little clip for everybody on one of your videos, so they can kind of see what you're doing on your YouTube channel. But anyways, this is Meteor Man, everybody, and I'm going to give him the floor to kind of do his little introduction. So,
right on. Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate you having me on here tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Heck yeah.
But let me just get down to it real quick. This is really what piqued Charlie's interest about this is my enthusiasm about a little something called high meat. And high meat is any kind of raw meat that you age in a moist condition to increase the bacterial content exponentially. So high meat was originally created by the indigenous peoples of the world. A man named Ogenus Wunderplanets, the creator of the raw primal diet, he was riddled with all kinds of health issues in his younger years, and it set him on a quest for health. He came across all kinds of interesting things, but he didn't really find the keys for health until he started hanging out with the native peoples. And they taught him how to eat raw meat, and they also taught him how to eat rotten meat. He thought they were trying to kill the white man, and he even gave up on life. He tried to eat, the stuff thinking he would die, but he found it made him all that much better. So it seems like such a strange, out of this world thing that only some kind of freak would do that's trying to, you know, shock everybody and just get views and attention. But in reality, I've just found something that our bodies are most suited to eating,
Yeah.
and that can help us really get through all kinds of health issues.
Yeah.
But
Keep
let's
going.
go ahead and get into this high meat thing, because that's the strangest thing that anybody could ever imagine. Because I worked in restaurants for 20 years, and I served all kinds of raw meat dishes every day, but never rotten meat, only fresh.
Yeah.
So the origins of high meat, um, Augenus Wunderplanets discovered it with the Inuit people in like up in Alaska, you know, the Eskimo folks. But
Yeah.
they would do things like take a seal skin and pack it full of hundreds of birds and then bury it underground for like months or a year. And when they went to go dig that thing up, they knew it was ready when they would stand 100 yards downwind from the seal skin after it was dug up. And if they can catch a good whiff of that seal skin when it came out of the ground, they knew it was ready to eat. So sometimes they had to bury it back in the ground for another month while they waited. And he described the mixture as being all sorts of colors and everything.
Oh,
And
can I stop you?
like
So you said when they know it's ready. Is there a certain point where? Because I saw a video where you were eating aged piece of meat that was like a week old, and then I saw you eat a piece of meat that was 2 months old. So, like, what's the difference? Is there a specific a length of time that where it's actually better for your body to process? I mean, do you know what I'm talking about?
well, the whole point of high meat is the bacteria on the meat is breaking it down, so it gets to the point where your digestive system doesn't really have to do anything. All the nutrients and the bacteria in the meat is ready to be used by your body immediately after you ingest it. Your stomach acid doesn't have to dissolve it, and your intestines don't have to process it. It can just go straight into your system and work its magic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, I have to admit. So, like, the whole mind over matter thing. It's like I feel like a lot of the way we were brought up and trained to be in our culture. And again, I know that there's other cultures out there that are more open to certain things. Like when I saw that show, Man versus Food, I think it is. Is that what it's called? Man versus Food. Well, anyways, the guy that went around to different cultures and would eat literally just anything that they had, whether it's nasty or good or whatever. And you know, I remember this guy freaking goes to this like Asian or South Asia place where they started slaughtering this goat or something, and they took the raw meat out of its inner thigh and they disjointed the goat's leg, and there's a fluid that filled into the hole of where they pulled the socket or the legs out of the socket, and they took that juice and they dipped the meat into it. It was like, I mean, he actually was saying that was one of the things that he thought was probably the nastiest things he ever had done. Yeah, I was concerned that somebody would think that we're not serious about our conversation here. So just hang tight. We actually have some really interesting stuff to talk about. If you guys have an open mind, I mean, just seriously consider that there are a lot of things out there that we're not fully aware of and how things work. And apparently, you know, we will all admit that bacteria in our gut is normal. There's bacteria in our gut. So you know, nobody is really going to flip out and say, "Oh my gosh, there's bacteria in my gut." I mean, the thing is, and I'm not trying to necessarily say like I'm right behind Meateor, man. I'm going to go ahead and start eating some maggoty meat that's 2 months old and chase it down with some blood. I'm not even close to that point, but the thing is, I want people to realize that there's different ways to look at things and consider. Now, and one of the other reasons that I want to talk to you tonight and kind of introduce you to all my you know, subscribers is that you are offering something that might be something that might be a means of survival. And that's kind of how I look at things. Survival may be something we have to be faced with soon with the way that things are going in the world. So Paradoxine says, I'm drinking kombucha. So that's kind of the same concept of fermentation. I mean, things rot and they ferment. So anyways, keep going with some of your thoughts on like this high meat thing.
I used to study wild edibles because I've thought about the subject of survival a lot also. And I kind of studied wild edibles as a hobby for many years. And I came to the conclusion that wild edibles are wild edibles because they ain't worth a damn. That's why nobody's ever done anything with them. Because I was studying plants, you know. There's not enough calories out there in the plant kingdom to sustain us if we're in a sticky situation.
Yeah, we were talking about that like the other day when I was saying how there's like wild weeds and stuff that you can eat. And yeah, I mean, that's true. There's a lot of wild weeds that you can eat. But what you're saying is you don't get the protein you need. You don't get the nutrients and whatnot. Right?
It may have some interesting medicinal qualities, or, you know, you may be able to spice up your dinner with them, but you better get yourself a couple critters up in there so you can make it through the day.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I actually at this point, now that people are starting to trickle in, I mean, I'm expecting to have a little more here later in the show, but for those who are with us now, I'm going to actually share my screen and kind of play you a little clip. There's, I mean, this guy Meateor, man, he has like a lot of videos that kind of across the board. I mean, you don't just eat the meat. I mean, in this next video that I'm going to show you, you found the most of the way drink jug of milk. So you had this milk that was like what, a week old, just sitting out.
It was raw milk, never before pasteurized. So remember, it has all the natural bacteria from the mother cow. And I had left it at work, I guess, for a week or so. I haven't watched the video in over a year, so I can't remember exactly. But
yeah. So hang tight, you guys. I'm gonna actually share my screen and I'm gonna play you a clip of that, and then I'm gonna skip ahead in that same video, and it will actually show kind of about 25 seconds, maybe 30 seconds of the video, and I thought it kind of captured, you know, the essence of what you're trying to portray here. So hang on one second here. Actually, let's do this one. Share. Okay. So let's see. All right, here we go.
I found this raw milk that I left at work. It's only been sitting out for 6 days. Bottoms up, baby. Yeah. Ooh. It got a little ripe. I like it though. I shook it up real good. You know, gets kind of chunky. I couldn't find it when I left work last Thursday, but my coworker, he left it on in my office, you know. So I walked into work today. It's Tuesday, and yeah, my milk. Delicious. I love this stuff. I'm never going to refrigerate anything ever again for the rest of my life. Oh. You know, that's not totally true, but that's the way I feel about life.
Oh my gosh. All right, so hold on a second.
There's my coworker.
I'm going to eat these eggs sometime.
Hang on a second. So this meat is what, like over a week old, sitting out?
This is supposed to kill me, you know. Like, ask anybody on Earth. Like, no, you'll die if you eat that. Or really, watch me die.
I forgot to die.
That's actually what I wanted to show everybody there. So yeah, anyways, so yeah, I mean, that's kind of what was in my mind as far as anybody that can eat all this freaking crap. It's like, now talk about that first part, the milk. I mean, you drank that, and that kind of was unsettling in your stomach, wasn't it?
Well, the first time that I drank raw milk that I had let sit out and clabber as the bacteria took it over and the fat separated from the water and it got all chunky.
Yeah.
The first time I tried it, I was introducing all kinds of new bacteria to my gut that I wasn't familiar with, and it did kind of wreck my gut a little bit. Gave me a real bad stomach ache the next day, and man, I was stuck to the toilet. I was shitting my brains out all morning. It cleared up just in time for me to make it to work, but ever since then, it's been clear sailing. I can drink all the spoiled milk I like, and I'd hate to call milk spoiled. It's actually just clabbered when all that bacteria takes over.
Yeah.
It eats all the carbohydrates and actually becomes a zero carb food. But the flavor, it's not like rotten meat where it gets that rancid putrid flavor. It actually gets like a nice bite to it, kind of like a good cheese.
Yeah, I mean that kind of twisted my gut a little bit when I was watching it, but again, it's one of those things where I mean, the interesting thing to me is that the fact that you introduced this bacteria that your body wasn't familiar with, but your body adapted to it. So like when I hear stories about people going to Mexico and drinking the water or something, and they get these little parasites. Now, again, that might be different, but as far as parasites, but obviously bacteria is a parasite too. But it's like our bodies have to adapt to certain situations. And, I kind of wonder, what are these stories of people getting like food poisoning? I mean, you could argue, someone can arguably say that your body's reaction to that rotten milk was actually food poisoning, but it's all subjective, it seems like.
Well, autogenous wonderplanets will teach us that bacteria, fungus, parasites, and man, I think there's some fourth thing, but they're all here to help us. They're nothing to be afraid of. And if you ever have to deal with food poisoning, it's probably because you ate some cooked meat.
Interesting.
See, like if you have pasteurized milk, then that milk is rendered completely sterile. And any pathogen that comes along is free to completely take over that milk and dominate. And it may be something that's not even supposed to be there. But raw milk has the original bacteria, the mother cow, and that good bacteria will protect that milk. And if other pathogens end up getting in there, they'll fight it off, they'll kill it, and they will maintain control over that raw milk. So you don't have to worry about it going bad.
That one video that was like a half hour long or whatever, it was talking about high meat and how you age this meat for, I believe it was over 2 months. and there was it was exposed to the air at one point or a couple different times where the flies got in there and laid some eggs or whatever, and then you got some maggots, and then I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. Wow, okay, this is exactly what I'm trying to say, is that there's certain toxins in the body. I just remembered as I was saying this, but you had cured yourself from alcoholism. Like there's something that the bacteria in your gut desires. Like I heard of candida or something like that, where if you eat too much sugar, or you have too much sugar in your gut, that you're literally feeding this bacteria that desires all this sugar, and then it basically controls your appetite for sugar. Now, you had eaten this, was it the high meat that curbed your appetite for alcohol or sugar for that matter?
Well, I think it was because for about the first 6 months, before I even realized about eating raw meat, my mom had introduced me to the ketogenic diet, and I'm not overweight, and I don't really suffer any health conditions that I realized at the time. I just think diet is very interesting, so I tried it out, and I really enjoyed it. But in the process of doing the ketogenic diet, the information that I'm coming across starts to lead me into raw meat. I find out about that, and I start eating raw meat all the time.
Yeah.
So over the course of 6 months of ketogenic, and then I guess maybe another 5 to 6 months of eating lots of raw meat, and I was a lot stricter about it back then. What I believe happened is it changed the makeup of the bacteria in my gut from the carb-loving bacteria to the bacteria that loves protein and fat. Now, they're all still going to be there, but it's about which one dominates the situation. And the gut is the first brain. The bacteria in your gut controls your mood, controls your desires. It's going to make you want different kinds of food because that's what your gut wants.
So let's talk about that.
It's going to make you happy or irritable. It has a lot of power over your entire body.
Is that the way you see that like manifesting in your life? Do you feel like you feel pretty good with just your outlook on life? I mean, do you feel pretty positive? I mean, what's going on in your emotional state? And what are you doing right now? I mean, obviously you don't just eat like raw meat and raw or rotting or fermented meat. Obviously you do more than just that, but I mean, as far as the nutritional value of adding to your normal daily nutrition or whatever, I mean, what do you normally eat on a regular basis?
Well, I normally eat my wife's cooking. I normally eat food in the cafeteria at work.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's not great food, but it's free. And sometimes I don't have much money to spend. So we do what we can. But when I have my options, I like to get me a nice piece of meat from the grocery store. I'll usually pick up a piece of beef. If I'm feeling fancy, I'll get some lamb. Lamb seems kind of expensive, but I like to get the lamb breast. It's super fatty, so most people don't like it, and I get a pretty good price on it if I go to the right store.
Yeah.
And then I like to eat fish. All these meats I like to eat raw. Sometimes I'll eat some raw chicken. I really, really enjoy chicken because the last time I had raw chicken, I had bought one from some Mexican guy on the side of the road.
Yeah.
He was selling these egg-laying hens, and I took it home and I cooked half of it for my wife, and I ate the other half. And man, after I ate that half of chicken raw, my gut felt like happier than it's ever been before.
Really?
If I could describe the way it felt like if you woke up early in the morning and the bed just feels so warm and good. You don't want to get up and you know you don't have to, and you're just going to fall back asleep and you're laying in silk sheets. That's how good my gut felt. It was amazing.
You know, the perception that people have is that chicken or poultry or whatever has what's the bacteria?
Salmonella.
Salmonella. And obviously that's kind of in a processing plant that you probably have issues like that. You know, where they have, I don't really know where the salmonella, how, I kind of think that maybe we have salmonella in our gut, or maybe we don't. Maybe it's like when someone gets sick from it, maybe it's the same kind of thing when it's newly introduced to your gut, you get sick, but then maybe later on you're adapted to it. Who knows? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Salmonella is just digestive bacteria, not to be feared. It's just something that lives in the guts of the chickens to help them digest food. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Sorry, my cat keeps wanting to come over here. But so okay. So let's kind of get into why I feel this is an important topic. Now, you had told me that you basically have been known to pick something up off the side of the road and eat it, like a roadkill or something. Like you ate a crane.
I was really happy. I was driving around and I saw this crane. You know, those white birds that are always eating crawfish out of the ditch. They got those long yellow beaks and long legs. And he was on the side of the road. So I pulled over and got out. And this poor bird had just been hit by a car or something that had a broken wing. And it was actually still alive. So I picked him up real quick and threw him in the truck. And he probably died like 30 minutes after I picked him up. I had to go, I was picking up some free bricks that I found off of Craigslist at the time. And I got done with that. I went home, I unloaded, and I didn't even mess with the crane until the next day. It just stayed in my truck. It was dead, you know.
Yeah.
But I got to eat that crane, and it was awesome, man. That meat was deeper red than a nice cut of beef. It was like a deep crimson red. And the liver tasted pretty good, too. I even... The intestines got punctured in some of that, you know, everybody always says it's going to ruin the meat, but I made sure to taste whatever came out of the intestines. And I thought to myself, if I was in a survival situation, that might be the only spice I had to flavor up my meat. And besides, what am I going to get from it? Just some digestive bacteria from the bird. What a wonderful gift. But,
that makes me wonder, like I'm potty training my son, and he was out back just running around outside in the grass with us, or with me, I should say, and the dogs. And now he's about almost 2.5. And now I taught him that we could just go pee outside if he needs to go pee, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, whenever I need to go, I'll just freaking walk over in the corner. I'm like, hey, Theo, come here, and teach him how to pee standing up, you know? But anyways, the thing is, he kind of equated that. He kind of put 2 and 2 together in his mind. Well, if I can go pee outside, maybe I can go poop outside. So he starts pulling,
Yes.
pulling his pants down. And I'm like, what are you doing? You just went pee. He's like, I got to go poop. And I'm like, really? So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh crap, maybe I don't have any time. Maybe we just need to go poop right here. So I helped him squat down on the ground, and he just freaking let this little freaking log roll out of his butt and freaking. So the thing about that is, there is no more of a greater delicacy for the dogs than the.
Yo, they ate it up. Yes.
But the thing is, it's like, that's what I think about when you're saying that you ate some of this freaking bird's guts or whatever. that had like some bacteria or whatever. I mean, that what is food waste? It's whatever the body doesn't use, right? So I'm not saying that people should go and start eating poop, but the dogs were perfectly fine. They didn't have any problems with eating poop. So
They love that stuff. It's just a candy bar to them. Let me tell you, on that same subject, when I was younger, I taught my youngest brother how to pee outside. You know, take him out behind the garage. Like, this is what we do, man. But he didn't really get it. So he was in the mall and he had to pee. We're walking around with my mom, and he whips it out on one of those trees growing in the food court and just hosed it down. And then he got in trouble for that. And then on another occasion, we were helping my mom bring in groceries, and he whipped it out in the front yard and just started hosing down the front lawn.
my nephew did the same thing when he was potty training. I was having a birthday party, and he just freaking all of a sudden he starts pulling his pants down in front of like 20 people. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But I get it now more so because having a kid, it's like they don't know better. They're just going pee or poop. So anyways, so that's kind of like where I'm thinking, the basis of my show is to talk about, how we established kind of this paradigm in our own minds, and we're just looking for confirmation of our own bias and belief systems. And you're kind of rocking my foundation with some of the stuff that I've been learning from you. I feel like, and again, I'm not really saying that I'm there. Like, I really want to start eating rotten meat. My wife, again, like you had mentioned that your wife isn't necessarily that excited about some of this stuff. But my wife is definitely, just the fact that I'm having a live stream, every once in a while, my wife will give me a bunch of crap about freaking coming over here and doing this. And it's because, the bottom line is we're not always seeing eye to eye on things. Now, granted, if I ever told her that I was going to start eating, aged, fermenting meat or whatever, I would never get the support from her that I would so desire. How you doing?
I know exactly how you feel. You're not alone. My wife gives me shit for doing YouTube stuff also. She sent me with her blessing tonight, but on other occasions she'll be giving me shit about it. You just care about views and videos, and but they're emotional creatures, you just got to roll with it and don't judge them too hard. They love us probably. And they operate on emotions, so they get upset sometimes and say things they don't really mean.
I kind of think that your wife might love you, considering. What is love? It's putting up with. No, I think it's funny though. Granted, so like one of my ultimate goals with my YouTube venture is really just getting people to think outside the box. And then also really consider what is happening in our reality. I kind of feel like there's a lot of deception. So that's where I come out with the whole concept of truth. So I have truth, and then I have, a lot of people will say, oh, well, truth is subjective. In fact, one of the last videos I put out, somebody was like saying, truth, really? They're kind of mocking me like I don't really come at it from truth, but everybody has their own measure of truth sometimes. And so for you with this concept is we're talking about finding nutritional value out of something that you would never think is nutritious. and couple that with the truth of what's happening in this world. I feel like they're going to crash the economy. I feel like they're going to freaking, we're going to be put in a position where we have to fend for ourselves or find a way to survive and find food. So, I made videos about like dandelions being edible. I know that there's like this milkweed or whatever they call it something wild lettuce or something that is medicinal and you can eat it. And then there's a bunch of other things that you can just eat on as far as like weeds or plants. But like you were saying, we have to get a certain amount of protein in our diets, a certain amount of fat. I don't think we're going to find wild nuts, that will give us the fat that we need. I mean, granted, there are nuts here and there. I mean, but we're going to have to eat animals. And
animals have been our food since the beginning of time. Plant foods are artificial man-made foods because in the natural wild state, plant foods are trash, and they haven't been worth a damn until we saw the potential and subjected them to our agricultural processes to selectively breed the traits that we need. That's why we have all this luscious fruit and beautiful vegetables and these grains that we can use for all sorts of purposes and these delicious nuts. In their wild form, nobody eats acorns. They're way too astringent. You have to put them through processes to neutralize the anti-nutrients, Or think about corn. Nobody knew the original plant that corn was derived from until scientists used DNA testing to actually track it back to its source. They had no clue. And they found that the original corn that grows wild only grew a few kernels, and it was encased in a rock hard shell that could crack your tooth. And basically it was nothing anybody could survive on, because you're not going to spend all day trying to gather a basket full of these disgusting rock hard kernels that you can barely break into. There's way more important things for you to be devoting your time and energy to finding to eat.
Yeah.
And then wild plants are made for survival. They're not made to give us energy. They're just made to have as much goodness in them as they need to make it through the day.
Yeah.
They're full of anti-nutrients.
I kind of have a theory. Whenever we eat something that actually makes us sick, or maybe we experience that poisoning process, you might say, I kind of wonder if there's things that actually trigger the toxins in our body to be flushed out. So like really what's happening isn't necessarily the plant is killing us or whatever is killing us. It could be that our muscles and our bloodstream already have toxins just floating around. I think that sometimes if we eat certain foods, it'll give us diarrhea because it's triggering the toxins in our body to release, and then we end up getting diarrhea. That's kind of a concept that I'm kind of wondering about. And again, I don't really know for sure, but it kind of makes. There's a lot of theories that I hear that actually, I almost feel like, say for instance, like this whole COVID thing. That Andrew Kaufman or whatever says that there's no germ theory or whatever. It's actually, there's a different interpretation of the evidence ultimately is what he's suggesting. And I kind of wonder if it's not actually the plant that's killing us, but it's actually whatever it is in the plant is triggering toxins in our body, which ultimately kill us. But again, I don't know. Maybe it's both. Who knows? I don't know what your thoughts are on something like that. But what is the thing that's causing toxins that will actually ultimately kill us if we are poisoned, so to speak?
Well, I think you might be right about both.
Yeah.
Because bacteria and viruses and parasites, they help remove toxins from the body. A parasite can eat 50 times its own body weight in toxic material.
Yeah.
And so bacteria and parasites, they go around and consume toxic material to help dispose of it for us. And say when there's material that's
so toxic that it's killing off the bacteria and parasites and they can't even handle it, that's when the body starts producing viruses. The body produces viruses. They don't come from the outside. They're produced in our own cells. And a virus isn't even alive. It's just a dead protein.
Hey,
So a virus is a solvent. What it does is it dissolves certain parts of a cell that are toxic and need to be dealt with. And it helps flush those toxins out of the body. Those toxins that may be so toxic that not even the bacteria or the parasites can handle.
So here's the other side of like the contagious side of it. You know, they'll say that, oh, it's not really contagious, but there's an RNA sequence that we're emitting. Whenever you have herd immunity or something, you breathe out your RNA sequences and it actually spreads to other people. And so the RNA sequences are really just, you know, like plans on how the body interprets what it is that other person was doing with their body. And they were flushing toxins, and then boom, they're spewing out these RNA sequences that other people receive. And then this is where herd immunity actually comes from, is other people sharing this quote unquote virus. But really what it is you're communicating through RNA sequences to other people. Now those people will actually experience the same pattern of toxic flushing. And so you'll actually get sick. So that's what happens is when you get sick, you're really just responding to someone else's RNA instructions. I don't know. It's a weird theory, but I don't know. I think it kind of makes sense.
That's a great theory. I love that. And that makes me want to communicate on an RNA level with everybody I meet.
Take off that damn face mask. You're actually causing people to not heal because you're holding the immunity away from getting to other people. I don't know. I believe that the face mask is going to ultimately make a lot of people worse, not just because of oxygen deprivation or you know, the toxicity of carbon dioxide or whatever. I actually feel like people are trying to achieve immunity in their own body, and when our immune system neutralizes whatever toxins that they flushed out, it's communicating to someone else how to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a house cleaning technique.
It is. Oh, that's
good information.
Yeah. So, you know, I bet a bunch of people that haven't been watching this up to this point, they had no idea that we're going to get into the science of how all this stuff works. But
yeah, I started
up?
my YouTube channel because the subject I always loved diet and health, because I can't trust modern medicine. I know all their pharmaceutical drugs are total trash, with maybe a few exceptions of maybe there's some important painkillers, or if you get in a car accident, somebody's got to stitch you back together, and then physical therapy and stuff. But most of those drugs they're peddling are totally trash. And I've never been to a doctor that gave me any good advice.
Yeah.
I cured my ringworm without their help. I just let it pass on its own. I fixed my arthritis, and I didn't do anything a doctor told me. I had to find out how to do it on my own. Oh, if anybody's got arthritis out there, what I did with my rheumatoid is I started going to bed on an empty stomach, and I felt 100% relief. And now if I eat before bed, some of the symptoms will slightly come back, but not nearly as bad as they used to be.
Yeah, you know, you had talked about the ketogenic diet, and really it's coupled with you know, low carbs, high protein and fat, and fasting, right? That's kind of the concept of it. The whole fasting thing is, allowing your body to process out the toxins and not take all the energy away. I mean, take some of the energy away from digestion, because at some points your body doesn't function as a whole. It kind of functions in the areas that it needs to focus on. So like when I'm digesting, my brain is not going to function as well. I heard that your senses are heightened when you're actually starving, and it allows for the hunter mentality to come out, because you're going to be more keen in your ability to do things. And I'm going to point out Becky, mentioned that that's how it works as far as the immune system. I really feel like older folks are more hit by this corona thing, because they're old and they have toxins built up in their body, right? My freaking kids don't have the same issues. Like I had, my wife and I both got pretty sick. My kids didn't even have a symptom. But then again, I mean, when there's a cold or something, kids can get colds, obviously. So I'm trying to think all this through, because it's interesting to me. And honestly, like you're saying, doctors aren't going to give you the right information. I feel like science hasn't given us the right information either. I feel like, we have to kind of figure these things out in spite of what they're telling us, And honestly, I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like you're interested in science. It seems to me like you're interested in how the body works. So you're not just willy-nilly like eating some rotten meat just for shock value. And I'm hoping that more people watch this video. You're more than welcome to share this on your channel too.
I will. I wish I had thought about it. I would have let my I would have put out a post telling people to come watch, but I didn't think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's weird. Like the people that I'm trying to reach are kind of spiritually minded. They're always thinking about like, either they're like Christians thinking about like how to approach this from a Christian perspective. Sometimes I deal with people that are, kind of open-minded to the New Age or Eastern philosophy. And it's weird, like the vastness of my reach, it almost seems like this is an area of focus that nobody has considered. And the reason I'm saying that is because I haven't seen a lot of people pop into the stream yet. So now, granted, I mean, maybe eventually the YouTube algorithm will kick in, and I don't think that this is a topic that YouTube would frown upon necessarily. But then again, maybe they do. I mean, you've had some videos that were pretty popular, right? I mean, I think
I had one taken down. My reptilian mukbang. I was trying to eat. I'm trying to eat more wild animals, and I made a video about eating lizards, and I would just catch all the lizards out of the bushes around my apartment. And I think there was one scene in particular, because when you eat a lizard, he's gonna bite your damn tongue.
Yeah.
And you're trying to bite him, so it kind of messes it all up because it hurts. So I had these two lizards, and I made them bite each other's heads so that they couldn't bite me when I ate them both. And somebody flagged me for animal cruelty, and
oh my gosh,
YouTube wouldn't let me post it. My internet connection's too crappy right now anyway. I would love to repost that video on like BitChute or something, but I haven't been able to get it up yet.
Yeah, I mean, so like the animal cruelty thing, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems kind of cruel in some ways, but there's a lot of things that, I mean, that's just the nature of our reality. I mean, we have to kill something to survive.
Well, the nature of being a raw meat dieter, we really get on the nerves of the vegans, and we really find it hard not to fuck with the vegans, because they operate on a diet of total trash. And so we love to go give them a hard time or make fun of them. I try and be nice about it. And I've actually got a few viewers that used to be vegan and used to troll me, but then came to their senses, and now they also eat raw meat. So they've come on over to the side of the light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember. I understand that cooking food it actually kills the nutrients. I know that that's what it does, but it's that fear of actually getting bacteria, and that fear that bacteria is going to harm us or whatever. And here, I got to shout out Conscious Truth Seeker. I've been wanting to talk to you, man, just so you know. So I know that I've been following his channel for several years now, and he's been following me, I think, too. But we just never really have talked. But we've messaged back and forth a few times. But Becky says, it took me 5 minutes to get the channel to play, and it would then play some other channel. So maybe the others are stuck too. Oh, really?
What's she talking about?
I don't know. Took me 5 minutes to get to the channel to play. I made an adjustment on. You remember when I took your name out of the description on one on the videos before, and I wonder if I'm able to get some people.
I have seen old banners stay up and misdirect people before. Might have been it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I know that there's a lot of people that follow my channel, so eventually, even if they don't get on the live stream, they'll be able to play back or whatever.
But y'all go ahead and drop some thumbs on this.
That's one thing that I want to actually get the word on this, because I honestly want people to think outside of the box more with
Conscious Truth Seeker is a chef.
Yeah, I know all about. If I've been wondering, I feel it's real how our bodies are capable of so much more.
I used to be a chef for like 20 years. I worked in restaurants. I was an executive sous chef at one point.
Oh, really?
So I used to be all brainwashed by the health and safety codes. You can't leave anything out for more than 4 hours in the time temperature danger zone that is anywhere from 40 degrees to 140 degrees, or else the bacteria levels will reach a point where they become dangerous to eat, which is partially true if you're dealing with cooked meat and cooked food. But if you're dealing with raw meats, you don't have to worry about any of that kind of thing. Of course, you don't want it to go over 140 degrees, then you're going to end up cooking it, and that's going to be a travesty. But yeah, I worked in restaurants for 20 years, so I know all about it. So I know all of y'all are dying to start preparing your own high meat, but there's a very important process you got to follow to make this stuff.
You know, I'm interested in showing a little clip of that one video. We're almost about an hour in, and people have got to see exactly what it is that you're talking about. I'm gonna flip over to a YouTube thing here. Let's see. I'm gonna go to your channel, and I'm gonna pull up that video of where is it at here? Yeah, this is freaking yep. Oh yeah, you have a video called "How Raw Meat Healed My Alcoholism." I thought that was interesting. And then here, let me click on this one real quick here.
There's a very embarrassing video.
Hey, this is a good spot to start on. Yeah, people are going to love this one. Hey, if you guys don't have a stronger stomach, just
I'll give you some tips on that.
Viewer discretion advised on this next one. Becky, I appreciate you sticking around all the time. I love seeing your comments. That's hilarious. I'm a chef too. Hey, by the way, I was never a chef, but I was a cook at Chili's. I worked at Jack in the Box. Anyways, I've been mostly like in management and things like that, but in food service or whatever. So I mean, I get the whole food service thing, which is really kind of crappy with the way things have been handled with, the lockdowns and stuff. I feel like restaurants have been hit the hardest when it comes to, employment and things like that, because they're being highly restricted from operating their businesses, which bugs me a lot. So, anyways, let me go ahead and share just a little clip of this video. It might make someone a little squeamish, but if you're open-minded, it's interesting to me. I'll tell you that much.
They're ready for it. Roll the clip.
Rule that juicy clip. What's that commercial where it's like talking about like barbecue or something? I forget.
Oh, hell if I know.
No, it's the baked beans commercial. That's what it is. You know what I'm talking about?
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yeah, exactly. It's not beans though; it's maggots. Hold on, right on. I was a lunch lady too, head cook. Sweet.
Oh, feeding them babies. I bet they loved your cooking. I used to work in an old folks home, and man, it'd bring you so much joy to prepare a delicious meal for people like that, you know?
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me see. Let's go back to this one here. Okay, you ready, guys? You ready? Oh, that's not it. All right, here we go.
Once these maggots start turning into flies. When I first started it, some maggots got in here, but I kind of left it in the direct sunlight, and they all kind of died. You see, they got nice and big and fat, but it was
those dead maggot carcasses.
Looks like gravy in there.
And,
yeah, that is a little meat gravy. That's pure bacteria right there.
Maggots got into the meat, but not very many. And then one day I went to the grocery store.
Yeah, it's all moving.
Dang it, I forgot to put the lid back on the jar.
Dang
when
it.
I came home, first thing I checked on was my high meat. And there was a little clutch of eggs perched right on top of this flesh.
A lot of people would throw their high meat out and start a new batch at this point. But we got to keep just rolling with it.
Oh yeah, those are nice and plump.
Can you see them on in there? They're getting pretty big. Now, I left the lid off the other day and forgot about it. I went to the store and thought, oh crap, I forgot to put the lid back on. But I couldn't just turn around and go straight home. That would alert the wife to my project, and she's not a fan of high meat. I wonder why. But
it's about forgiveness, not permission.
That were laid right on top of my meat. So the previous maggots that were in here.
It gets worse, guys. Don't worry.
I left the jar in direct sunlight, and they got toasted. You see all the little maggot corpses laying around the meat. Those are the old guys.
Those are high maggot corpses now.
New bags.
Yeah, those are high meat.
They're going strong, and I'm keeping them out of direct sunlight.
I try to go through the whole process so people can recreate this at their house.
Hidden up inside the meat.
Oh my goodness.
That's a New York strip steak.
They don't like being disturbed. But I find them useful because us high meat fermenters love keeping our meat anaerobic. And as long as these guys are alive, I know there's plenty of oxygen on my meat.
I meant to say aerobic.
The oxygen levels drop. Aerobic. They're going to get really sluggish and be barely moving. But as long as the oxygen is going strong, they're going to be wriggling around and trying to escape the limelight. They don't like all the attention, you know. They're kind of private creatures. But I decided that once the first maggot turns into a fly and hatches up out of this jar, then I'm going to consider this high meat ready, and I'm going to chow down. But until then, enjoy your feast, little buddies.
You're part of the delicacy.
Looking forward to this.
Oh my god.
Now the gut is an anaerobic environment. So when I produce all this aerobic bacteria that live on oxygen, once I swallow it and it goes into the gut, all that bacteria gets killed off because it's in an anaerobic environment.
Mhm.
But some people do make their high meat in an anaerobic environment, so that way they're producing bacteria that can live on in their gut.
So this is 3 months. It's not 2 months. Holy crap.
I get it all the way up to 5.
5 months.
Yeah,
We're almost
if I remember correctly.
the little red and
Yeah.
the black dots as of the maggots that have started to pupate into flies. They should be hatching soon. Can't wait. It's almost dinner time.
When they start to climb up on the side of the jar, usually they're trying to get out because there's not enough oxygen.
Mm.
Got to open your jar every day,
Yeah.
Next opportunity.
unless it's in the fridge, and you can go like every 3 days.
Starting to look like beef
There's,
jerky.
looked at a couple old pictures of this steak, and there's not quite as much of it left. I think my little buddies have had their fill. So my high meat is estimated at 4 months old now.
Chow time.
I kind of lost track of time on this one, but a week ago I left the
Wow.
lid off and replaced the lid with this cool little piece of cloth and a rubber band. So
There
it's
you
had
go.
a week of solid, fresh air, and it got kind of dried out. All the maggots have started turning into flies. None of them have successfully turned into flies. I don't think that being in a jar of high meat was conducive for their transformation. I think most of them went into the pupating state.
I'm gonna
and
skip
kinda
ahead a little
failed.
bit so we can
haven't
see
really
the-
gotten any flies out of this jar.
Kind of where you're starting to.
But
Yeah, let's go to the parking garage.
Yeah.
see what's going
Now
on.
this is after work. I had one of my coworkers join me, and I actually got the guy to taste the high meat. I was impressed with him.
Now, remember what this steak looked like when I first got it. It has disintegrated a lot since then. These little maggots have really gone to town here. They've been in like heaven. All right, let's chow down. Brought some gloves because I don't want to stink up my hands, because that would also stink up my steering wheel on the way home. It'd just be nasty. So
My wife hates stinky stuff.
Oh, by the way, I might have skipped the part where it was talking about the blood in this container.
This old board that I got off a pallet.
It's like cow
I
blood or
busted
something.
up. I'm going to use that as my plate
Oh yeah, there you go.
because it's a disposable plate. Who knows what kind of chemicals and treatment they used on this board, but way better than styrofoam, right?
Yeah.
So right now I'm just going to cut it into little pieces. Might cut a maggot in half.
There's my coworker.
Sadly, all the maggots that are left are the really little ones. I don't have any big, nice, large maggots in here. to show
Plump,
you.
juicy ones. Oh yeah.
This is going to be cool because we're going to have all these dead maggot bodies too.
What's worse, a dead
Tough
maggot
wrestling
or a
parts
live
of them.
maggot?
Still tough. I can see.
I would say which is better. And I much prefer the live maggots.
Tuna into high meat.
Yeah.
Is completely
They're a
disintegrated.
delicacy. Maggots are packed with enzymes that help you digest raw meat.
Focus on whatever you tap on. Like if it gets fuzzy.
Yeah.
Now go ahead and take a look at this guy. Yeah? You got him?
Mm-hmm.
Come up here. You got it.
Yeah.
Yummy.
There's a man named Derek Nance and he's been on the raw meat diet for 10 years. And I got the maggot technique from him because he eats a lot of maggots.
Like third of their maggot life.
Man, I'm sorry for those who can't stomach what we're watching here, but
I'm
keep an open mind.
saved him.
Maybe some of you chefs can get some ideas for a couple specials you can run next week.
And they're escaping, and that's not good.
Come back here, little guy. That is freaking cow blood in that jar.
We had cleaned a lot of steaks at the restaurant that day. I was working at P.F. Chang's at the time, and so I got all the blood out of the meat packages.
P.F. Chang's, that's like high-end blood right there.
Yeah.
Most likely.
All that blood is the liquid you see in the jar. I used it to get all the schmegma loose.
Oh, here we go. He's got to wash it down. A blood chaser.
To get my saliva on it, and then I just pretty much swallow it the fuck down. The taste is not horrendous. Like the tuna was. The tuna was like, bam!
See, people would say you get botulism or something from tuna.
Maybe you will. Well, but botulism is a anaerobic.
Oh, is it?
Anaerobic bacteria. So as long as you keep fresh air on it, you're never going to get botulism.
Oh, interesting.
But then I saw a video with Derek Nance where he was eating a 1-month-old goose egg. And when he cracked the thing, he took a whiff of it, and he said that he smelled the botulism. And that if he was on the toilet later, he knew why. But so for Derek Nance, botulism is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking if you're on a regular American diet and you're just packing yourselves with toxins every day, and you trigger yourself a massive detox, that detox can actually do you a little more harm than help.
Yeah.
But if you're always trying to eat really healthy and keep yourself detoxified, then when you end up triggering a massive detox, it's not going to be nearly as bad.
Yeah. Harold, I was trying to turn it down a little bit while you're talking about it. Here, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I want to
explain this flavor to you guys.
Oh, wait. I want to hear this part. But you can't.
My wife gave me that shirt.
Yeah. This is my boomstick.
This is not a super fancy steak either. I got this from a restaurant. From my coworker, he gave me a leftover steak that was going to be turned into chicken fried steak. I had a better idea. I am definitely not getting any pussy tonight.
Oh my god! I can't believe
Not with that rotten high meat breath, you ain't, Meateor man.
And this will be my final test where I'll be able to tell if high meat actually gets you high.
A lot of people claim to get high off of rotten meat, but from my experience, the high is just maybe you get a little bit of euphoria and it just makes you feel good. It's like emotional high, not really like a drug high.
Yeah.
Makes your gut feel very soothed, and it gives you, a really good outlook on life.
Yeah.
So if you're suffering from depression, then take some note on some of my recipes I got.
That's what I do on my veggies.
So he's washing it down with freaking blood, like raw blood, mixed with all the freaking nasty gravy that was built up in it.
I had to get that gravy out. That was the pure gold.
Oh my gosh. See, I want people to realize that after he ate all this, you weren't sick, right? You didn't feel like nauseous or anything like that?
No, I felt great. Well, there is one point in the video where I kind of gag.
Well, yeah. That was a mind over matter thing.
Yeah, sometimes the flavors get a little overwhelming, but my gut felt very happy after this was over with. And my bowel movement was a good one. Nothing out of control.
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
Wasn't it that last swig of the blood that made you like
There you go.
feel sick?
Yeah, there's
I think so.
you are the man that inspired me to make.
I know it's a good video if I gag at least once.
That was before I saw your Barcroft interview video. Yeah.
All right. Here, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit.
It's exciting, but it's also like lots of trepidation. Is that the right word? It's like, do I really want to do this? Yes, hell yes, I want to do this. But that little indoctrinated angel on your shoulder that is like, no, please don't do it. But we've tuned him out like years ago. So
It's really hard for a lot of people to tune out that indoctrinated angel on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But that's why I make my YouTube videos, to help folks out with that.
I'm getting bored with high meat. Oh, that's a terrible joke, Chris. No, I know nobody.
It's a dad joke right there.
Oh, got it on my nose. Now my nose stinks.
Sure, my dogs would eat this.
Oh man, dogs love high meat. and they love turds too, right?
Apparently.
This meat was kept outdoors the entire time. Here in Houston, Texas, it's summertime. How hot is it outside, Benny?
90 something.
Yeah.
It's like humid.
I was mowing the lawn the other day, sweating buckets. I keep my high meat in the shade. I try not to let the direct sun hit it, because that would be death for my little maggot homies.
They're still floating around in there.
So you're telling me once you get home, nothing happens. You're gonna be like nothing, just chilling, relaxing.
We're gonna find out. That's why I talk
Here, I'm
about
gonna skip ahead just a little bit
so
here.
that way if I die, some meat.
I want to get to the part where you freaking drink the.
Them Yankee boys, they need barbecue sauce, steak sauce, and all that other crap on their meat.
To hell with barbecue sauce.
I like my meat.
You got gravy on there, natural
Yeah.
gravy.
Natural.
All right, is this the last case right here?
God dang.
Yeah, it looks like it.
All right.
That's meat.
There you go. It's gonna take you about in total like 15, 14 minutes to do the whole thing.
Well, I did lie, all right. I do like other kinds of sauces. This is the original steak sauce, blood. It comes in the meat already. God put it there. We didn't have to have some satanic chef cook up food, altering the way God put it here on earth for us to consume because it wasn't good enough. Right?
Yeah.
Bullshit. God knew what he was doing. If we were meant to eat cooked food, then God would have made animals already cooked to begin with.
Yeah, or you would have made us fire-breathing dragons.
Oh my gosh.
Hang
Tangy.
It tastes like the regular old blood from the package when I first got it, but now it's mixed with the high meat schmegma.
Oh, good stuff.
This is nasty. I'm sorry. My indoctrination angel is very prominent right now.
We're going to break that sucker down, trust me.
I want to get them little buggies.
Here we go. This is the chunky
In
part.
my belly. You're not gonna, man, yeah, you ain't spill no blood, no meat, nothing.
Nah, man, I ain't like those retarded professional eaters that just spill food all over the place and say they ate 10 pounds. Are you gonna drink some of this blood?
No.
All right.
Maybe some other time. Next time.
Ew,
Okay.
chunky.
One more sip.
Okay.
Come on, you can do it.
No drugs.
Almost gagged. Almost gagged. The last sip.
All right, I gotta call it. I'm good. I'm good with hold on. Let's come
So
back.
let's really get into this. So check this out. Agenus Wunderplanets created the raw primal diet, and basically it was the most healthy diet that he could come up with, and it consists of raw meat and other things that you would be able to find in the natural human environment before society and before technology. So it consists of raw meat, raw organs, raw honey, and raw fruits. So Agenus would eat one piece of fruit a day. He would eat lots of raw dairy, butter, raw milk. He would eat plenty of raw meat, and just like was in abundance back in time, in the beginning of time, he would eat plenty of high meat, some fermented, or as you might call it, rotten meat as well.
Yeah.
Scientists have actually studied the bones of our prehistoric ancestors and found that they ate mostly rotten meat. So it was a staple of our diet back in the day.
I kind of feel like people had to store the meat. You know, like when they're, going west or something, they had to put the meat somewhere. They don't have a refrigerator or whatever. I mean, I kind of felt like they had to pack the meat in like salt or something to preserve it. But again, I'm starting to realize that, what you did was basically probably what people did in the past. I don't know. Hey, real quick, I'm going to check in with the chat. I see a bunch of people coming in here. I'm interested in bringing this to paying customers on the down low, if you know what I mean. There are people out there that will pay to have Pro prepared. I bet you would make some good money selling that, maybe.
What's that flavor called? Unagi? I can't remember, but it's some flavor that chefs talk about.
Ugoy, I think I might know what you're talking about. Hey, real quick, holy crap, hold on.
What's up, Aaron Rocha?
This is Joey, isn't it? I don't know if Joey's here, but his channel was deleted. So this is.
Hey, Joey, you got a new channel yet? I had never heard of you until you were on BZ Truth, and then I try and go check you out, and you were gone, man.
I know, what the heck. So I want to hear your story. I don't want to bring you on this stream just because it'll probably be way off topic. But
Joey knows about all this stuff, though, man. I was very impressed when you had him on, and he was talking about all the rotten meats being good to eat. I was like, no way, I'm not alone. Well, I'm not alone. There's a huge community of people that enjoy the raw primal diet and love to eat high meats. Yeah, and I'm just one of many. Most of the stuff that I come across, I love Jesus too. I love Jesus too, Aaron.
I know. Well, I didn't want to let that slip through the cracks. That's kind of the reason I do what I do. I was waiting for this. Sorry. Hey, freaking stick around. Don't go anywhere yet. We still got more to talk about.
God made everything perfect in this world. Why do we have to come along and cook it all? We trying to make it better? I'm not sure why the Bible tells us not to consume blood. I don't really understand that part. I do just fine with it.
Well, I mean, it talks about cutting off the foreskin too, and honestly, I kind of, I don't know. This is a whole nother topic, but there are certain health reasons for why things are done. But again, I don't know if you have to be acclimated to certain things before it it you know, hits you a certain way. So like for you, maybe you had to build up to where you're at. Because what if somebody like as toxic as my body started doing that? Maybe that is going to trigger something in my body that will make me so sick that I die. Maybe
Well,
that,
let me give you, this is my advice. Whenever you're trying something new, start really, really slow. When I first tried high meat, I didn't eat the whole jar of it. I'd stick my spoon in there and get the end of it wet and just lick it because I wanted to know what it tasted like. But I was worried. I was scared. This is rotten meat. Goes against everything I had ever been taught. So I started very slowly. And I didn't start with 5-month aged high meat. You know, I started with something I had left out the night before. It wasn't even stinky. And then maybe I tried some that was a week old and then a couple weeks old. And I would just try tiny little bites.
yeah. And I was telling you the other day when we were chatting over the phone that you kind of influenced me a little bit already. You know, my wife kind of gets really crazy. Like she gets scared that if something is out on the counter for more than 2 or 3 hours, that automatically means it's bad, because then that gives it time to, you know, have bacteria start growing on it or whatever. And, you know, I've gone like, I don't know, 7 hours or 8 hours where something was on the counter and I just ate it and there was no issues. I've never had issues after eating something that was that old.
Pizza never goes bad, apparently.
Pizza?
Yeah. I used to work at a pizza place when I was a youngster, and I would never refrigerate pizza. I'd eat it like a week later.
Just sitting out on the counter? Yeah. I mean, butter preserves on the counter for weeks. I mean,
and let me tell you, if it's raw butter, I would still eat it even after it gets all moldy.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you eat cheese when it gets moldy, like Swiss cheese and all that. I mean, these are things that people, this is education right here. People might think that this is shock treatment or whatever, but I feel like people need to be aware, be open-minded.
I think it's, there's people that make a high meat dish out of shark. I think it's like in Scandinavia or Iceland or something, but they fish for these sharks in the Arctic waters, and these sharks live in such cold waters that their blood is basically like antifreeze, and the chemicals inside their blood to keep these sharks alive in these frozen waters make their meat toxic, and if you ate one of these sharks fresh, it could kill you. So they take all these sharks and they fillet them and they throw them in a big wooden box and they let them rot for like 6 months, and then they hang them to dry. And it's the same process of high meat like I do it. It gets all rancid and funky and all the juices start oozing, and then they serve it up. But all the bacteria helps break down the chemicals into a form that's safe for us to eat.
Yeah.
So high meat is actually a very traditional dish in a lot of cultures.
You know, I hear yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And we eat a lot of fermented foods, like you know, moldy cheeses or delicacies.
Yeah, like blue cheese and I mean Swiss. There's a lot of cheeses that are molding that people eat, no problem. I mean, and you were showing that you ate like mold and you didn't get sick, right? As far as like growing on meat or.
Yeah, that same steak that y'all watched me eat in the video.
Yeah.
For the first week or two, I kept it in an open jar in my truck. It was just coming to the end of springtime, so it wasn't too hot in the truck. And in a dry atmosphere, mold will start to grow on the meat. In a wet atmosphere, then the bacteria will grow. And this thing was just engulfed in mold, and I took a big old piece out of it that was all covered with mold, and I tried to eat it. And it had the weird musty, powdery, fuzzy mold texture and flavor to it, but it It didn't do anything to me. I just ate it and was perfectly fine after that.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I mean, that's gross that you would freaking eat mold, but at the same time, it's like, what do I know? I'm just indoctrinated.
I'm trying to push the envelope.
Yeah. Kimchi, is that so? That's the name of the petrified shark meat. Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's
So
a great video about it.
I was talking to one of my coworkers, and he's Filipino, and he was telling me about this. It might be China, or maybe in the Philippines. I don't know, but they actually bury meat in the ground for like a year or something, maybe longer, maybe 6 years. I forget. There's a where they bury it to the point where when they unearth it, I mean, it's kind of the same thing that you were talking about with the, was it the seal meat? Was it?
Yeah, they'd pack that seal hide. The Eskimos would pack it full of birds,
Yeah.
and they'd bury that sucker underground. I would like to try some burying projects. When you're making your high meat, a lot of times I will bury the jar just to mask the smell. Because no matter how tight you get the lid on that jar, it's gonna stink up the whole area. And you gotta hide it from your wife. Because if you're, imagine, Charlie, if you've got this jar of rotten meat sitting around and it's stinking up the whole patio like a dead animal is out there rotting away, and your wife finds this thing, she's gonna freak out, right? My wife has caught me with rotten meat. One time she came home early from work, and I felt like I was about to get caught with a lover. I'm sitting around with this plate with some raw fucking meat on it. So I threw it in the closet.
With meat.
I threw it in the closet, and she was none the wiser. But I knew it was in there, but I neglected to do anything with it for a couple of days, and then she's like, "What the hell is that smell in the restroom?" And I was like, I had to play it off. I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about," but she found my rotten meat in there. It wasn't rotten when I threw it in there, but a few days in the closet, it got kind of funky. And it happened one time in the truck when I made that beautiful high tuna meat. That, man, that stuff was only about a month old, but it was like super stinky. And I had it in the back of the truck, and she gets in the truck and she's like, "What the hell is that smell?" Yeah, that's when she made me throw it out. I don't argue with her. If she tells me to throw it out, I say, "Okay, I'll throw it out. But when you're gone, I'll be making it again."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And she complains about it stinking up her fridge, but that's why I usually keep it outside.
It's hard enough for me to eat a piece of fish that tastes like really fishy. I kind of like that mild fish flavor, not too bold, I guess. So Voynich is saying molded bread gets you tripping, like it has the basis for LSD. So obviously there's something to the fermentation process, because when you drink beer or alcohol or whatever, it gets you that high feeling. You start feeling drunk or whatever. And now you had mentioned too that when you were eating that steak or whatever, you could taste like spiciness or something, couldn't you?
Yes, bacteria has a very spicy flavor on the tongue. So when you get a huge bacteria content in your meat, it's going to taste spicy.
Yeah,
just like if you were eating some spicy peppers.
Yeah, I actually have a pretty big garden in the back, and it's weird. Like when I like oregano, I actually have some oregano plants that come back every year. They're perennial, and so there's one that I will eat the leaf, and it's not like spicy at all. But the next plant over, when I eat it, it's really spicy. So I'm thinking like, I'm interested in the whole spicy thing, like with peppers and the capsaicin or whatever it is that causes things to be spicy. Now, it's interesting to me that because I've heard there's a lot of nutritional value to that spicy aspect of peppers, But I don't know about like the spicy aspect of bacteria. That's interesting to me. But it's Nordic, maybe Swedish. The shark meat, heard it's pretty bad. Just saying.
Well, they say it tastes like piss because of all the uric acid in it.
Oh yeah.
I would love to try this stuff.
Oh really?
It's I don't think it's really that it's bad. It's just one of them acquired tastes.
Hey, I can send you some of the eggs that I never picked up from last, because I have like 9 chickens in the back, and we have a bunch of eggs that never got cracked. I bet you that they're rotten right now, and if once they open up, they're gonna they stink.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. Let me tell you all about this dozen eggs I bought. There's a really great farm here near Houston. I live in Houston, Texas, right? And it's called Ken's Hens, and he does a really great job raising his eggs. They're super high quality. So I pick a dozen of these up from the store for about $5, and I keep them in my pantry for over a year. And then I bust them out, and I'm about ready to try them, and 10 of these eggs had dried out. There were like petrified eggs in there. Couldn't do nothing with them. One of the eggs, when I cracked it, it was kind of half dried out. So out oozed this like dark, dingy yellow kind of goop that kind of tasted like fish food. I don't know. I guess everybody knows what fish food tastes like, right? But the other one, the final egg, when I tapped it with the knife to break the shell, it was under so much pressure that it exploded with a bang. The wife was in the other room like, what happened? I'm like, nothing happened. We're good in here. And she didn't really follow up on it. But out oozed this bright fluorescent yellow goo. And the flavor of this stuff was just out of this world. I can't even explain it. It was incredible.
I mean, it smells like really bad sulfur when you bust open a rotten egg, but that sulfur smell obviously is bacteria, right? I mean, you could eat that no problem. Right? I mean, you were saying, how old were those eggs again?
They were a year old.
Yeah.
That's a year past the expiration date, unrefrigerated for the entire year.
Hey, by the way, anybody that isn't aware, I have chickens and I know a lot about chickens. But eggs are preserved longer when you don't wash them and when you leave them on the counter than if you wash them and put them in the fridge. We sit eggs out on the counter for over a month and they're fine. And we don't even wash them. We just let them poop out the egg and then we just grab it and put it in a freaking container and it's ready to go. So
you're 100% right about that. That's totally true, because the eggs, they got like a membrane around the outside of them, and when you wash them, you wash all that stuff off, and it's a protective layer.
Yeah, it's weird how nature kind of has that protection or that provision that allows for longer even preserve is relative, because I mean, obviously you're eating something that wouldn't be considered preserved with high meat. So, I mean, everything is relative now. And I'm just trying to figure out where to land on this thought process. All I want to do at this point is I want to get healthier because I'm about to turn 40 in April. And I don't know if me getting healthier is going to be like starting eating high meat, but necessarily maybe that's not going to be my first step. Maybe I have to eat raw meat before I decide to go the high meat route. But again, I understand the whole concept of raw meat and why it's necessary. Why would it be beneficial to have raw meat as opposed to cooked meat? The same thing goes for vegetables. It'd be better to eat raw vegetables than to eat cooked vegetables because it kills the nutrition.
Don't waste your time on vegetables. Vegetables are a total waste. Vegetables don't exist in the wild. They're total man-made food. You see, We found this scraggly, nasty, bitter plant out in the wild, and we saw the potential in it. And from one single plant, we were able to create a whole host of vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, I said cauliflower, kale, all the greens, and a whole host of other different kinds of vegetables all came from one single type of plant. And that plant was pretty much just trash until we used selective breeding to bring out all these qualities and make all these delicious vegetables.
Yeah.
If you're eating vegetables, just know that you're doing it strictly for pleasure.
Not always. Sometimes vegetables are nasty. I mean, I like growing vegetables, and I think it's better to eat raw vegetables than to hi.
If
Okay. All right, my wife popped in here. All right, I'll do the fridge in a second when I'm done. Okay, love you. Do the dishes? Okay. Sorry, my wife's trying to get me to do my part as a husband.
Yeah, my wife tried to get me to
part of the chores part, not necessarily the baby making part. I'm just kidding.
They don't have to get us to try that.
Maybe I have to do the chores first, and then anyways. But anyways, yeah, I really appreciate this conversation. I know that there's going to be people out there that really appreciate this conversation. It seems like Conscious Truth Seeker seems to appreciate it. He's been doing a bunch of comments here. What's marijuana peppers? I've never even. Can you smoke them? I'm just kidding. Oh, what's your thoughts on smoking things? Is that something that you consider unhealthy or?
Well, they say if you're on a healthy diet that you can smoke and it won't affect your health at all because you'll be able to detox whatever issues out that you got. Man has had fire for like hundreds of thousands of years, and we've been sitting around breathing the smoke all that time, and it's never been a problem. The only time it was a problem was when we had the Black Plague.
Mm-hmm.
That was caused by people burning coal that we mined out of the earth instead of wood, and it was really putting out a bunch of toxic heavy metals that people were breathing in and getting like mercury poisoning and heavy metal poisoning that was contributing to the Black Plague. But they got us out here believing that it's fleas that came on the backs of rats from ships, which is total bullshit.
I'm telling you, like everything that they put out there as the narrative, the mainstream narrative, it's all freaking bullshit. Like I'm telling you, it just like, I mean, like literally everything that I hear has some sort of deception in there, and that's the thing that really gets me going with all this stuff. So, the fact that my wife popped in here a second ago makes me feel like I should probably maybe wrap up in just a few minutes. But I wanted to see if maybe let's talk about that one guy again that what motivated you to start looking into this. Maybe I'll just pop him in the chat here. What's the name of the guy that had a bunch of illnesses and he started eating high meat?
Oh, Ogenus Wunderplanets.
What is it called? Or what's his name?
He legally changed his name to Ogenus Wunderplanets.
Oh, I don't even know if I can spell that.
It's kind of weird.
I don't know how to spell it. Okay, sound it out if you guys hear this. Ogenus Thunderplanets or
Wunder.
Wunderplanets.
Like
okay.
Wunderplanets.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible speller, but the last name kind of spells like it sounds. And Ogenus is with 2 A's, like AA.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel
rest in peace, Ogenus. He died
from a tragic balcony accident.
So you didn't die from like 3 or 4 month old steak?
No, he was out eating his high meat on the balcony because it was too stinky to eat inside.
Oh,
And the balcony collapsed and he plummeted to his death. He didn't die on the spot, but when they got him back to the hospital, he was like refusing all the doctor's helps, and he was telling them what to do, but it didn't work out for him, and he didn't make it.
yeah,
Like broke his neck or something.
that's
It's
crazy.
a shame. The man cured a lot of people. He even cured people from incurable diseases. I think he cured somebody from I can't remember, some yucca Cruxfield. I can't remember the name of that damn disease, but prion disease. But the dude cured like tons of people from stuff that was unimaginably like difficult to cure. We got no explanation of how he could do it, but he gives us his diet. He tells us how to do it. See, people take the raw primal diet a little too seriously. They listen to everything Agenus said that he ate, and they take it all to such heart. They try and eat exactly the same way that Agenus ate. But what they don't realize is he would tailor his diet to each individual he came to. So there was one guy that couldn't eat anything but high meat. So he put the guy on 100% high rotten meat diet. There were other people that he would have him eat tons of butter and honey all the time. There were some people that had to eat a lot more fruit. So every single person he dealt with, he made them a customized raw primal diet. A lot of people that get on this diet, they'll screw it up because they won't listen to their body. They'll try and eat what they think Agenus, the exact same way that Agenus was eating. And he's dead now, so we don't know anything the exact same way he ate. Yeah, that's the man right there.
Yeah.
And but let me give you some advice if you want to eat more healthy. If you got to cook your meat, just cook it a little less. Enjoy it. If you cook it well done, then start enjoying it at a nice medium or a mid-rare. And try and get plenty of fat in your diet. You can supplement with butter if your meat's not fatty enough. And make sure if you're eating vegetables, you're just doing it for pleasure. If you want to eat some raw meat, that's good too. If you don't want to eat high meat, then let your raw meat sit out overnight and then eat it. It's not going to sit out long enough to get funky, but it's going to develop a nice bacterial load for your gut. Like Germans are famous for their steak tartare, and traditionally they would let it sit out overnight. They would prepare it and let it sit out overnight. That way it'd have a full bacterial load ready for them when they ate it the next day. They weren't making high meat. It didn't sit out long enough to get all super funky and gross. But they knew about the importance of bacteria too. Now Germany's pretty cucked, so it's a little different nowadays.
Yeah, part of me wonders if a lot of the stuff that's happening is all set up in a way to where we die more quickly. The old ancient ways of doing things. And again, I'm a believer that we actually outlived. I believe that, like when the Bible talks about people living to be like 900 and something, I believe that maybe it could be attributed to that kind of lifestyle, where everything kind of works together when you live off of the land, and the bacteria helps prolong your life. And the way that we are dying off so fast nowadays is we put all these toxins in our body and we can't process it out. So, and that's ultimately and plus when you eat meal after meal after meal and you don't have any downtime for your body to process out See, I'm starting to realize that when you starve yourself, that is actually a process of flushing your body, and it's not. I mean, you'll flush all the poop out of your bowels and then some, because you're going to start your liver starts working harder, your kidneys start working harder, and everything is just going to be toxic, and that's why people actually feel so much healthier after last, because they are able to and I'm speaking as if I know, but to be honest with you, I don't have the discipline to do it. I'm trying to find motivation to do it, to be honest with you.
I didn't have the discipline to stop drinking, but I found a hack. I changed my diet, and the diet change took away the urge to drink. I didn't even want to quit. I didn't have a problem with it. I wasn't a full-blown alcoholic or anything. I just like to drink every once in a while. But I noticed after a few months, I didn't even have the thirst. So I just let go of it. I said, I'm not a drinker now, and got that monkey off my back, and it was gone. I thought it was kind of cool, but it took absolutely zero effort. And if you're interested in fasting, what I recommend is go on a ketogenic diet. I'm far from ketogenic now. I eat plenty of carbs. I'll still eat a bowl of rice, and I like to eat my raw honey, and I like to get my carbs in because I don't want to lose weight. And you're inevitable going to lose weight if you go on a ketogenic diet, because you train your body to run off of fat. But the cool thing is it takes away your hunger. That was the greatest thing about ketogenic when I first went on it, because before that, if I didn't take a lunch with me to work, it would be like crash and burn. Around lunchtime, if I didn't have anything to eat, I'd start feeling weak. I'd be super hungry, and I knew if I didn't stop and eat that I'd be worthless. But then after I started getting ketogenic and I was eating all that fat and training my body to be on fat, and I got keto adapted, and then if you do eat, then your body uses the fat that you eat as fuel. And if you don't eat, the body uses your fat that's on your gut as fuel. Yeah. So you've always got a huge reserve of fuel source ready to go all the time. Carbs don't stick around like that. You eat a bunch of carbs and you either burn them up or you store them as fat.
Hey, so Conscious Truth Seeker has actually been in the chat. I wanted to see if he's willing to come on for a minute. And I was going to share the link, if you're okay with that. I probably can go for another 12 to 15 minutes, we'll just say. But if you're open to that, Conscious Truth Seeker, and again, I don't know how your time is, Meteor Man, but if you have a few more minutes, and he has a lot of stuff that he's sharing with us, and I just thought maybe it'd be cool to have him on.
Yeah.
Okay.
15 minutes. 15 minutes is a good shot. I'd like to wrap it up around that time too. I don't have to wake up till 3 a.m.
Yeah. So I'm going to share this. This is a link to the StreamYard. If you want to just click on it. Yeah, he's going to come on, it looks like. So just click on that link, and then it should take you. You can use your smartphone or you can use a computer. It doesn't matter. And you just follow the prompts. It's pretty easy to get on. So I've been meaning to talk to this guy for a long time, so I thought it'd be cool to have him on. He seems really interested in this topic, so maybe he could add a little bit to the thought process. And I appreciate your time. We've almost been going almost 2 hours, it looks like.
Yeah, so, it's been fun.
Yeah, and honestly, this has been very informative for me as well. And I'm hoping that the listeners have been informed with at least some of the stuff we're talking about. I mean, because if anybody thinks that they know anything, I'm here to challenge that. I think everybody should be challenged in some way or another, you know? And
most people that know stuff only know it because they were told.
Yeah. Hey, there's the man right there. What's up?
Hey,
Gotcha's
what's
Truth
up,
Seeker. How you
guys?
doing?
What's up, fam? How you doing?
Welcome
How's
on
it going?
in.
I'm really enjoying the show. You guys are killing it tonight.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been seeing your rants and stuff from the past, and I appreciate your stuff, man. So, and again, I know that this is random, just inviting you on, but I figured,
Yeah, that's no problem.
honestly, it doesn't seem like there's a whole heck of a lot of people that are, seriously interested in this topic, because
They
they
will
just,
be in the future.
yeah, when we're like
Changing, man.
I was the same way when I first heard about it. I was like, no way, I would never. And that was 5 years before I even thought about trying it.
I'm really interested. I mean, it's amazing. You know, I've had this awakening kind of going on in my life the past half a decade or so, really strong. You know, I went through maybe like a decade or so of real strife and pain and suffering to get there. You know, we all have to go through that. And if you have enough strength inside you and you can channel that higher power, you can kind of like move into where you're supposed to be. You know, it's kind of like it's our higher power, our that God of whatever, we don't even understand what it is, or it's guiding us, and it's a beautiful thing that we're sharing this type of knowledge with each other. You know, like
yeah,
our bodies are so much stronger than what we think it is. You know, we're constantly being lied to. We're under a hypnosis. We're under
yeah.
a mind control. I mean,
I was gonna say
like,
spell for sure.
I mean, it's really it's unprecedented, guys. It's really incredible. I mean, the level of just dissidence everybody's in. They're just in this. Everyone's in a level of just like they're in this sleep. They're just being controlled, and they you know, it's like it comes down to that where love, you know, people who love the lie, and like we could go on here for days, you know, in this community. You know, I could go on forever just explaining. Like we all know what's happening, you know. We all know we are, you know, the definition of holy is set apart, and it's outside of, you know, it's something that is separate from everything. It's on another level. It's an understanding, and like we all move into that, you know, when we go through this awakening and this growth that we're all going through, and we're lucky to have a community to do it, you know. And I really think it's beautiful stuff you're sharing, because it's real, you know. Like I've been scared. I bring home beautiful steaks all the time, and I'm afraid. I tell my wife the next day after it's sat out all day, "Oh, don't touch that, you might get sick." Because I've had like shitty hamburger from a crappy place that sat out all day. And that's different with fillers and stuff in that garbage shit, and it's gonna get you sick. Yeah, because it's breeding unnatural bacteria. But if you have like a real good, like decent, like solid, normal cut of meat that hasn't been tainted or messed with, this is great. You know, like it shows you that your body, you can test the limits. We were put for that. Our children show us that. Our
Yeah,
children push us to the limit and see what they can get away with, and like that's what our job is, to try to see what we can get away with and push the limits, and not just, you know, like Owen Benjamin would say, you fucking cuck to the man, you know, and like, oh, just, you know, be that servant type. Like there is a goodness, and there is a, a wealth of knowledge and wisdom in pursuing life as a humble servant. I was taught to value a hard work ethic, and it saved me from a lot of stress in my life. But like it's a valued thing. Like that's how I think life itself, our higher existence that we all evolve and live in right now. It's just a little fucked up and twisted, but it stems from that, knowing where we can push ourselves and testing each other and pushing each other. But if it's, it's like that stupid saying you hear from uh, William Shakespeare, well, like, not we're all honest, we're all the world's a stage, but like, I'm losing track. Where
Yeah. Well, hey, man.
it's
Yeah. So as far as, I don't mean to cut you off. So
no,
Meteor
go
Man.
for it. Go for it.
So I just want to say hi to David Wolf. I haven't really seen him around in a little bit, so I just want to say hi to him real quick. And then, so, and again, I feel like all this stuff kind of ties in to what you're saying with the spirituality side of things. And but I need people to really acknowledge that science does tie into spirituality, and
It does. It absolutely does. But it's you. That's where I was getting to. You set me off perfectly right there. Oh God, say it again. One more
science,
time. Say it again.
what science and
Science ties
And
into
that's where we get all
spirituality.
this fake science. That's where we get all this science denying stuff because it's all. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we first set out to deceive. That's the second one. See,
oh,
we use this knowledge and this wisdom, but in our society, we're all taught to use it to benefit and to trick somebody and bullshit them. And I got the latest, newest, cleanest bullshit, and that's how we end up with wax, fucking injected, fucking just chemically injected meat and shit and garbage that we're putting in our fucking body because it looks better, or it tastes better, or it seems cleaner. It might appear to be cleaner,
yeah.
but see, that's where the spirituality ties in, is because people have to understand that the dirtiness in life is there for a reason, and it might seem to be filthy and dirty and disgusting, but it's beautiful and it's made for a reason. I know this man right here can understand that with what he's doing with these meats and stuff and his diet, that it's such a disgusting, gross, dirty, putrid looking thing, but it's
Well,
beautiful
people need to
and it's
acknowledge
wise.
people need to acknowledge the fact that he has not got skill in what he does. I mean, if that says something, it's got to say something. I mean, he's eating these nasty ass freaking rotten pieces of meat with maggots in it, and he's not getting sick.
He looks pretty fucking healthy to me, man. A lot healthier than I look. He's
Oh,
looking really
shucks.
fucking healthy. Really? No, you're vibrant. The blood. Can you see the blood flowing through his veins behind that skin and everything? He looks vibrant and healthy. It's beautiful, man. You look great. I wish I could be feeling and looking the same. Really?
That's right.
Just stop wishing. Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're all on. We're all on that path of finding that and doing it. And I really love you, man. I really appreciate the knowledge you're sharing, and I hope it helps to wake up people. And don't just think this is a flop. This isn't a flop, man. A
No.
shitty show with two people watching or whatever. This
I never would.
This is gonna keep going, man. Keep doing this. You could be the next thing. And
This ain't about the views.
No.
This ain't about the likes. It's about each individual that we reach out to every single day.
Yep, you're empowering each individual to explore their limitations and their strengths. Not, you said limitations, but you're giving these people the power to see where their limits are really at and where they're being lied to and where they're being manipulated. And that's what this whole community is about. waking people up to not being manipulated and lied to anymore, and giving them strength.
So Meateor Man, as we're wrapping up the show here, I'm going to give you the last word as far as like kind of a final statement. Is there anything as far as a takeaway that you might want to leave with some, like the listeners?
Well, I had something really good a minute ago, but now let me just make up some bullshit off the top of my head. I love all you guys. I'm glad y'all were able to join us tonight. Don't cook your meats too much. Don't worry about eating them damn vegetables. Your mama lied to you. If you really want some great information, I got a buddy that's got a channel called The Natural Human Diet. My buddy Weston here on YouTube, he's got some really great content too. And that man is doing an awesome job with the raw primal diet. I'm really proud of him. I just have to plug his channel.
Yeah,
but
I'll have to check it out.
The shameless plug.
Just know that this is the devil's world, y'all.
Yeah.
This is the devil's world, and he is the father of lies. So believe you that damn near everything that we think we know is a lie. And the devil would rather get you to believe a lie than to actually commit an atrocity.
Because that does his ultimate
so true
damage.
There's much more power in a lie than an actual evil act.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Hey, oh, what a tangled web we weave. You know, you guys, it really is. That's the difference between an honest community like us that wants to share and uplift each other, and another community that just wants to, like, just shill off something and make a sale and sell a t-shirt or some shit. Yeah. It's not about that. It's not about being popular.
Conscious Truth Seeker, I don't know if you can tell, but your mic, it kind of gets choppy here and there. But anyway, we're at the point now where I think we're going to wrap it up. But hey, let's keep in touch, you and me, Conscious Truth Seeker. Maybe we could have a little chat here down the road.
Absolutely. I'm down for it for sure. Absolutely.
So, anyways, as far as the meat, so right here, it's Meateor Man. I kind of look at it like meat eater man. He's a meat eater. So, anyway, so I don't know, guys. I appreciate you coming on, and as far as keep checking back on this channel. I'll always be doing live streams. So I want to talk to people.
I actually do get your notifications, and I'm getting notified of your shows and stuff. So I know you're being shadow banned everywhere else, but I'm just that psycho that they might be telling me. They might not care about me knowing.
No, that's good. That's good to know. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the night. And
all right, Charlie. We enjoy your content, man. Keep it coming.
Damn pleasure seeing you eat a maggoty infested freaking body.
I'm glad I could share that with the world.
Yeah, and I'll snag the link and put it on the channel so that I can get some of your subs over here. I don't know.
I'll tell them about it.
All right, man. Hey, both of you guys have a great night, and to all the listeners, have an amazing night and day or wherever you're at. So, all right, talk to you guys.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Great show, man. Thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it. Anytime.
Come check out your channel, Conscience.
Oh, thank you for sure, man. It's real passionate, just realness, man. You'll enjoy it, I'm sure. Have a good one, man. I really enjoyed watching you tonight, man. You're a real trailblazer for sure. For real, man.
All right, guys.
I love it.
I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. I didn't do any of this on my own.
That's right. All right. See you guys.